I tried a stomach stretching program in the lead up.
Explain.
Yeah, so you eat your meal, and then at the end of each meal, you have a litre of water.
It surprised me to see you downing pots of double cream.
Yeah, that was just a weight-saving insurance, really, just to make sure I didn't lose too much weight.
This is just purely calorific.
Just calorific,
substance.
yeah. And I was so fatigued, food didn't really give me energy. I mean, it sort of did, and if I didn't have any, I would bonk massively. But, you know, as long as I just kept the calories going in, it meant I kept the weight on, and I was pretty happy with my weight loss. I only lost 3 kgs over the 3.5 months. That last kg was muscle, so I did feel, if you look at all my times, I did start getting a little bit slower at the end, and it was a grind. Those last 3 weeks, I struggled from a physical point of view. But yeah, the full fat cream was just free calories, because I'd still eat everything I needed to eat, and then just down a bit of full fat cream, and that was 300 calories or 200 calories, which I wouldn't have had. Or even more, probably about 500 calories on a big gulp, really.
Would there be anything you'd change about what you...
I'd have more vegetables. I had very few vegetables for 3.5 months.
You just had a lot of carbs.
So I had meats, milks,
right?
Nuts, fruit, and grain.
And the meats and the milks are all animal-based
Yeah, exactly.
proteins.
Yep. Yeah.
Where do you lie on the plant-based protein versus animal protein in terms of endurance?
I think plant would probably have been better. I don't know. I felt good. Although, to be fair, when I had a bit of meat with fat in it, or I had some full fat cream, I felt amazing. Or cheese, I felt amazing, if I'm honest. But then I also felt amazing if I had some avocado or some nuts. Yeah. So, I felt amazing having crisps, which had oil on it, fried crisps with oil and salt.
It's so interesting. From some of the longest term stuff I've done, I now don't eat any animal products, but I used to. And I remember doing a long bike ride, just 100 mile or something, and I had like a quiche.
Yeah.
And the next hour on the bike was horrible. Yeah. So this fattiness was just like slurping around my body. And and that really, it stuck in my mind, was like, okay, that's not the thing I need to be eating when I'm doing something like this. And so the fatty stuff, like your double cream, your cheeses and your meats, which are higher fat as well. It's interesting to...
I think your body adapts to whatever you put in it, if you're used to something, it'll get good at using it as a fuel.
You had a lot of smoothies as well. Could you, looking back on how you wanted to eat more vegetables, couldn't a few like green beans?
Yeah, I didn't have that many smoothies, to be fair. You may have caught me on a few days where I did, but no, I should have. I had the athletic greens every morning, so I did get my macronutrients from that. But yeah, I was sort of too scared. Like once I got into a system that I thought was working, I was like, right, it's working sort of. My times are okay. Like let's not try and fix something that isn't broken. But I really wish I had a bit more. I probably could have had a bit more beans, bit more healthy grains. So I was having oats, really, my main grain. I was having some couscous, some rice, but mostly wheat, I guess, in the form of pasta.
And you had a nutritionist on board?
Yes, yeah. But that sort of gets thrown out the window because your taste buds get ruined. So the nutritionist helped me with all the powders in my bottles mainly. So I'd have, of my 8,000 calories a day, I was probably getting 3,000 of them in the bottles while I was drinking. And then the rest of it in food or cream, So, but there's no point, she was saying, oh, well, what can you eat? And I was like, oh, well, I quite like sweet potato, and I quite like rice cakes, and I quite like potato pancakes. And then after a week, I hated all of them. So it's sort of pointless writing out a proper eating plan when your taste changes the whole time. But I wish I'd had, because I could have had quite a lot of vegetables when I got home in the evening. But then it was hard because, you look at a bowl of carbonara, right? A big bowl of carbonara is easily 1,000 calories. The equivalent in something vegetable, unless you throw tons of sauce in it, is half that. So in my head, I'm just doing the calorie count in my head. And I'm like, wow.
And you're already eating a lot anyway. Yeah. To have to eat more just to get your...
Exactly. My stomach's
vegetables.
only so big. I couldn't have doubled the size because I'm I'm filling my stomach already. I tried a stomach stretching program in the lead up.
Explain.
Yeah, so you eat your meal, and then at the end of each meal, you have a liter of water. Yeah, so I did a bit of that to just try and stretch my stomach so I could take more in. But yeah, it didn't last. A couple of weeks in, my stomach had shrunk down again because I was eating a little and often rather than big meals. So I just couldn't stomach big meals really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I wish I'd had more sort of Buddha bowls and things like that. I think it would have done me well. But again, it would also involve someone making that.
Yeah.
I didn't have someone on board as an active nutritionist who could have gone. I think again, if I had all the monies in the world, I'd have hired a chef to put meals together for me. But I landed up just buying microwave meals and things like that. I had pre-made a whole lot of meals which had tons of vegetables in them, but the flavor was just horrendous. So after the first week, I stopped eating them.